Hello everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel for international students and interested students to come to Camosun College. Today we have CORINA LUDWIG, who is a president of FunctionFox, which is one of really great employers and located in Victoria, BC. So thank you so much for joining us today. It's lovely to have you. It's a nice sunny day in Victoria, so a perfect day for us to do this interview.
Great. Well, thanks for having me, Nina. I'm looking forward to answering some questions and speaking to the students about what's happening in the Victoria market.
Maybe we can start off with maybe a little introduction to FunctionFox and what is it that you do?
Sure. So for those that haven't heard of FunctionFox before, we offer an online time tracking and project management software, primarily for creative professionals. So simply put, that's online timesheets, and we do that around the world. We've been doing it for 20 years.
That's fantastic. That's got to be a busy job.
It is. Yeah, it's a lot of fun though.
Awesome. That's wonderful. And speaking of these timesheets and tracking, from what I understand is that you do have some of these tools available to some Camosun students. Is that correct?
We do, right? So we sell our product, but we give it free to students. So anyone that's interested in tracking their time, managing projects, those can be your freelance projects or your schoolwork. We offer that free to students while they're going to school and then for 6 months following graduation. So Camosun, we actually have really good ties with Camosun, and we offer our product to all the Camosun students. It's used in the Marketing 420 class, and they actually use our product to track their project, group projects, and then they do a presentation at the end with the actual reports from our product. So it's really cool to see that in action. Part of helping the Camosun students in terms of their education.
That's fantastic. And they get to use this tool that they can apply to the labor market later on. So that's fantastic that they're getting kind of a taste of it, and then they have the knowledge when they go out there and they seek jobs. That's fantastic. It's so nice that you guys offer it free to Camosun students too. And up to 6 months after graduation?
Yeah, so as they go into new jobs or careers, they can use it to track that if they want to. And it's really just our way of giving back to the community and spreading the word about FunctionFox in a way that we can, help the schools and education system in the community.
It's fantastic. I love it. And that's such a great privilege for Camosun students to have. That's really fantastic. And speaking of, opportunities after graduation and having knowledge, I just wanted to maybe talk about a little bit about the labor market and what does that look like right now in the technology field? What job opportunities out there? So do you have any knowledge you can share with us about the labor market right now in terms of technology?
Yeah, absolutely. So Victoria is a great place to be, and tech is booming in Victoria. So there's over 900 tech companies in Victoria alone. We're known as the sort of second Silicon Valley, which is, I think, a real privilege. And I think COVID has shifted it a little bit over the years. I mean, we've seen it sort of go up and down, just like the real estate market. Right now, if you look at VIATEC, which is the Vancouver Island Advanced Tech Center, I sit on the board for that group, and they have just over 100 jobs posted, which it fluctuates, but there's over 100 tech jobs, full-time tech jobs. There's also part-time and contract in there as well on top of that. And then if you look at Victoria in terms of the sector in general, Indeed has over 3,000 jobs. A good portion of those are IT or technically related. And not all of them are high level. They're junior, they're intern, they're, first 1 or 2 years sort of worth of experience. So I think there's a really good range. And COVID has actually really helped because now there's more opportunity in other geographies where we're looking for, to bring more tech into Victoria. So there's more people applying that are outside, and then there's also more from Victoria that can apply outside of Victoria. So it's not that you physically have to be here. So I think the opportunities for candidates and students now is better than it's ever been.
That's so fantastic. And I really like the point that you made about opportunities not just in Victoria. You could be outside of Victoria and work for a company in Victoria. And like you said, 900 companies. Wow, that's amazing. That's unbelievable. And I do know not all of them are local. Some of them are international. They just have offices here and they hire from Victoria, outside of Victoria, and Camosun graduates would benefit from that. Like you said, it's not all high-level jobs, it's entry jobs, and it's kind of to get your foot in the door and get experience, and then you could work your way up. So that's so important. I want to speak to maybe a little bit about Camosun graduates and what makes them employable. So we know that they use FunctionFox and they have that knowledge, and that's fantastic. They can apply it to the workforce. But what are local employers really looking for? And is there something that maybe you can speak to that you recognize about Camosun students that they have that really would benefit them?
Yeah, I'll give two really good examples, true examples. So one is like I mentioned, we have FunctionFox in the 420 class. We had a candidate apply to us when we were looking for a sales position. So a tech company, so it's a tech job, but for a sales position. And they came in and they said they're from the 420 class. So they already knew about FunctionFox, which was really cool because they had been through the class, they had used our product. They're now applying for sales and they're going to sell that tool. So they already had their foot in the door way above all the other candidates, which was really great, and a really good background and skill since they came from Camosun. So, out of probably 300 to 400 candidates, they were our top choice. We hired them. They're still with us today. And they're now teaching the 420 class. So they go into the classes, they talk about timesheets and project management and how our system used. So it's been a really good full circle. And so even though it wasn't, it's for sales, it's still working for a tech company. So it doesn't necessarily have to be just IT. And then the other experience that we have that's a true experience as well is we worked with Camosun on the co-op exchange and hired someone for an internship. They came back for a second term because I did really well, and we ended up hiring them after their graduation. They ended up again working in our sales department as a junior salesperson. They ended up becoming the sales manager. Then they went to be the sales and marketing manager because they had a real interest in marketing. And then they ended up being the sales and marketing director. So going from an intern with very limited experience before to being a director of the company in a tech company, that's a true live example that happened over about 7-8 years. And now they're working in Australia with their experience. So I think, one foot in the door and what you're doing at Camosun can absolutely lead to all sorts of possibilities. So yes, very important, not just in terms of skill set, but also just in terms of attitude, which is really the primary of what we look for.
That is fantastic. Wow, talk about applied skills and, getting in there. And like you said, I really appreciate what you said about it doesn't have to go in a tech direction. If you know the product, you can sell the product, you can work as a director, you can work in different sales, you can do different kinds of avenues with the knowledge that you have. And that's so fantastic to hear that applied learning from Camosun has helped the student individually find their dream job. And look at them now, director. That's fantastic. That's a really great story. I love that story. And I feel like, with the direction, you can choose to go whichever way you please. So that's so fantastic to hear. With that, and you talked a little bit about hiring for personality, and so maybe we can talk about that. Yes, you may have the skills. That's great. You've graduated. You have a little diploma, or you have your certificate. What is it that can help someone land a job, say, for a FunctionFox? What would be something that you would seek after for a potential candidate?
Yeah, and I think this is a topic that a lot of people wrestle with. Is it about skill set and the knowledge that you have and the tools or the experience that you have? Or is it the soft skills, the attitude, the personality, the cultural fit? But for me and our team, attitude comes first. We live in a really fast changing world. The things that I learned 20 years ago aren't applicable, not so much today. The tools that you're learning, the JavaScript, or if it's technical skills, they're going to be obsolete in the next 6 months or maybe a year, depending on what the tools are. But what's not going to change is your attitude towards it and how you apply your learning. So if you're a student or you're a recent grad or new to the career market, it's all about, can you network? Can you come to the table with ideas? Can you come and have discussions? Can you have a great attitude in terms of having conversations? And can you go out and learn what you need to learn to apply that knowledge, whatever it may be? So I've learned things in school that I've never used. The stuff that I have learned is how to communicate and how to build relationships and how to network. Those are the skills that you really need. And if you have those, you can get through a lot of interviews to the second or third interview state. So that's what I would focus on. And I'm not saying that your experience isn't really relevant. Someone that has a great attitude and has the experience is going to be better than someone that doesn't. But the focus for me and FunctionFox has always been on the people first and the skills we can teach if they don't have them.
Absolutely. And I love that you speak to that. And speaking of which, you mentioned that, the relationship that we have with Camosun, the co-op opportunities that you offer. I feel like a co-op would be a great way for them to kind of get to know the Canadian workplace culture as well apply their skills. So I feel like that's a fantastic way to incorporate both. Like you said, it's your attitude that counts sometimes. It's great that you have the knowledge, and it sounds like in tech, you're going to always have to keep up with the knowledge. So, and if every few months, you're going to have to learn something new, right? So I feel like a co-op is a great opportunity to come in, get to know the culture, the workplace, and how are you going to use these skills in that workplace. You did mention that you work collaboratively with Camosun. I think you might have mentioned, not sure, that you sit on a committee with Camosun, correct? Is that something that you do?
Yeah, so I'm on the PAC committee, which is the program advisory committee at Camosun, and it's really a way to bridge the gap between what the students are learning, the courses that are being taught, the skills that they're being taught, to what the employers are looking for. So, we're seeing Camosun internships or co-ops or even graduates come in, and they have certain things which are really good, and Camosun is well recognized in the industry in terms of, if that's on your resume, that's a very good thing. And so, it's bridging that gap, saying it's not just about the course that they learn or the technical how-to that they learn, but it's about how they apply that knowledge. And so training in that area and training in communication and training in networking, those are really important rather than just technically, this is how I need to do my job. So that's what I would add there. And I think that goes for most employers out there. They want to know, okay, do you have the experience? If you don't have the experience, how do you learn? Can you pick up something quite quickly? Because change is inevitable. And I think that, we all see that, right? Every day, the change can happen overnight and it can have a big impact. And so it's how you deal with change, and your attitude towards that is huge.
Absolutely. And I love that. And, it's so nice to hear that you are an employer who's coming in and you're recommending these changes, these updates. This is what we need to keep up with for our students. And it's so important because, like you said, we can learn about it, but how do you apply it in the real world? So it's so nice that you're part of this committee to help our students stay pretty much up to date and what is going on in the workforce, because we're changing. We don't know we're gonna wake up tomorrow and see what day is it tomorrow, what's going on in tomorrow's world. So absolutely love that. I did want to speak to a little bit about women and in tech. And it can be sometimes overpowering with what direction, what I should do. So I think that you have some background in helping fellow women in the tech industry, correct?
I do. So we're a female-run organization. The CEO of our company is female. I'm the president, also female, and other senior leader on our management team is female. And that's rare in a tech company. And if you look at the majority of those 900 tech companies, a large majority is male. I think that's changing. There's a lot more of diversity and inclusion discussions. They're more prevalent these days and very important. And I also sit as the vice chair on the Island Women of Science and Tech board. So that's an organization in Victoria that really supports women in tech. And not just science and tech, but sort of in those realms. And so it's open to students. It's iwist.ca if you want to check it out, IWIST. And there's lots of events that you can be a part of as a student and just sort of get your feet wet. It's networking online. It's quite easy, really inclusive and welcoming group. We very much encourage that. And it's being uncomfortable in places where you want to be comfortable. And I think that's becoming more and more prevalent. So instead of going to networking events where there's 75% males, now it's kind of shifting. And even though tech is predominantly male, I think we're seeing more and more females rise to the occasion, and there's more spots for that. And then in addition to that, the employers, they have this mandate to offer diversity and inclusion. So they're actually looking to hire females, not just because they're females, but to diversify their group and their culture. So it's a really good time for women in tech to kind of raise their hand, be confident, be loud and proud, and stand up for who you are, and recognize that you're just as keen and eager to have a spot on the table with your male counterpart. And it's not just about gender, but it's what you bring to the table and a fresh perspective. So yeah, absolutely support women in tech.
I love that. That's fantastic. Girl power. That's great.
Go for it. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And I love that you mentioned how, you know, employers are wanting this. They want this diversity. And speaking of diversity, I want to say that Camosun graduates coming from different countries, we're going to need these graduates in the next few years. You know, we're going to be seeing a shift in the labor market, and Camosun graduates and newcomers to Canada are going to be so crucial to us for filling these positions coming up and that are available. So it's fantastic that you're here to support us, CORINA. Thank you so much. I think you participate also in mock interviews with some of our students, correct? And that you provide that training?
Yeah, we do. And that's a perfect opportunity to meet employers. You know, think of it as not just, oh, I need to do this for my course and do a mock interview, but this is your opportunity to have an interview. They're coming to you, right? We're going to the school. Either myself or someone else on my team would actually come and ask you the same questions that you would get if you were coming for a true interview. So it's a perfect opportunity to prep yourself and see if it's a good fit. And if you come to one of those mock interviews and then you later come for an actual interview, you're going to be so much better prepared. Or you might go for another interview at another company, and with that experience, it's helpful. So I highly encourage you to do those, not just because it's part of your course, but because it's the perfect first step into actually getting a job in the career market. Same with the co-ops. You know, don't just look at it as, oh, that's a credit or semester that I need to complete. Look at it as, here's my opportunity to advance myself to get to be the director in a company, or to work with a company like, you know, the person from the Marketing 420 class. He's been with us for over 4 years. He's got a really good career. And so that started out from, you know, his class, not from after work.
That is so fantastic. And honestly, I can speak to those. I think mock interviews are so important. It's great training. It's great to get to kind of understand what an employer is looking for. We all get nervous when we go in an interview. So it's a great opportunity to at least ease the nerves just a little bit. And it's also nice to see a familiar face. So, you know, if you go in there like, oh, I've seen CORINA. She's so wonderful. She's so nice to me. She's going to smile at me. We're going to have a great interview. So fantastic. I love it. Thank you so much for being part of Camosun and our community and giving back and letting us use your product for free. It's so fantastic to have such a great local employer connect with us and really invest in our students and in our international students, because that's what we're here for. We're here to build a community. We're here to help one another. And it's so nice to have an employer such as you that really wants to help and contribute to our students. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I know our students appreciate it, and I hope that we can connect again. And thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I really appreciate the time. Thanks so much, Nina. If anyone wants to reach out to me personally, I welcome that. I'd be happy to do a mock interview with you, review your resume, and just talk about the labor market. You can find me on LinkedIn. So thanks very much, everyone. Really appreciate it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.